Namaste. Friends, I extend you all very hearty welcome to this evening's very special program, about which later my colleague, Bhavan's education coordinator, Stella Subaya, will mention. Now I am here to recite a Vedic prayer. May we all see with our eyes what is auspicious. May we all hear with our ears what is auspicious. With healthy body, mind and spirit, may we be able to dedicate ourselves for the cause of humanity. May the celestial beings shower their choicest blessings on us so that we may all develop a sense of sacrifice in our lives. May there be peace, peace and real peace. Om Bhadram Karne Vishnu Nuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangai Istuštuvagum Sastanubhi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuh Swasti na Indro Vruddhashravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti nastarksho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brahaspatir Dadhatu Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. The world is one family. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Hence, friends, let noble thoughts come to us from every side. Ano Bhadra Kratavo Yantu Vishwataha. I would like to just quote one very special statement from our Vedas. Sa Vidya Ya Vimuktaye. Another statement is Sa Kala Ya Vimuktaye. That is real art. This real wisdom or Vidya which renders one free. If it doesn't do that, that means we haven't understood that Vidya properly. So with these words, I request Stella, our dear friend, to come and introduce our very special guest from Kalakshetra.
Thank you, Nandaji. So, I think Nandaji has capped it all. I took quotation from, Madam has made a quotation, so sorry for the paper. So she speaks of LLIFE. So what she has stated is, L is for love, the shraddha you have for something. L is for learning, the process of acquiring true knowledge, which is what Nandaji was talking about. I is for implementation, truth as the backbone. F is for focus, with which a task is approached. And E is for expansion, oneness in thought, word and deed, which gives the deed and the doer credibility. This is a quote I took from Revathi Ramachandran. She's the director of Kalakshetra. She herself is a dancer, choreographer, and a disciple of the legendary Guru, Sri Mangudi Dureraj Iyer, a master of Milatu style of Bharatanatyam. So she's the director of Kalakshetra, but it doesn't necessarily, so what I'm trying to say is, it doesn't necessarily have to be that you have to follow the pedagogy of Kalakshetra, because I think she's going to pin it in her talk and her demonstrations, that we are one family, we are what I would say is one tribe, and we have a similar approach to life, a similar mindset to education, to peace, to love, to empathy. And these are the qualities which is lacking in today's time, and art is something which promotes that. And for me, I feel, especially Kalakshetra pedagogy, that's personal opinion for me, it delivers that in great abundance. So that also the institute is so vast, so beautiful, so you can truly just go and get lost in this beautiful ambience. So I leave it for ma'am. She will continue with the talk, and we have here Dr. Jyotsna Menon. She will be conducting all our practice session, and her thesis has been focused on Rukmini Devi's choreography with the eye, with the lens of theosophy. So that's for tomorrow. Ma'am.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaskaram. at the very outset, I want to thank Nandaji and Stella for making this particular session happen. And I also wish to thank our chairman, Mr. Ramadure, who is not here. He's the current chairman of Kalakshetra Foundation, who is also guided us and has been very, very insistent that this particular sessions should happen. And the board members, all of them are supportive of whatever we are going to put forward to you. So I'm very happy to be here. And as an expression of our gratitude, I wish to present Nandaji with one of our shawls from Kalakshetra Foundation. We have a bleeding unit too, as all of you know. Kalakshetra is known for the saris.
Oh, so
This is a khadi shawl. Also from our own indigo plant, which we have recently developed.
Just say that I'm wearing.
color combination.
It's from our printing session, the Kalamkari we have. Stella.
You humble me, ma'am.
Okay. So I also thank all of you who have come here, like Revathi, Geeta, Veena, all of them who have come here, whom I've known for quite some time now. Avanti I've known for a very long time. And I'm so glad they came here, and Avanti made a presentation on Apte at Kalakshetra. So I don't know what I'm going to do here now. It's making me quite nervous to be doing something here. As Stella had mentioned, I do not belong to the Kalakshetra Parampara. I belong to a Melatu style of dancing, but have always been an admiration of the great work that Kalakshetra has been doing. And I think it was in my mind during the younger days that I should be a student of Kalakshetra. And so happened that destiny was I had to be there for this period. And I would say that as a director, it was a learning experience for me all these years in Kalakshetra, and it was a wonderful feeling. So Kalakshetra, if we have to talk about it, so my whole talk is going to have a feature of Bharatanatyam and its socio-cultural background, Rukmini Devi Arunde, and the history of Kalakshetra Foundation, and then it will go on to what we are going to do further, especially our trip here to UK, to the Bhavan. What is it going to be about? So as we all know that Sadir or Chinnameram is what it was called, Bharatanatyam's earlier name, and it was practiced by Devadasis or the Nitya Sumangalis, who dedicated their life to the deity in the Hindu temple. It was prevalent in South India right from the Sangam period, we could say up to the period of the Chola and Vijayanagar times. These dancers adorned the courts and temples, and their dance was considered to be very auspicious. The dedication of Devadasis was marked by the Pottu Kattudal or Thali tying ceremony, which is performed in the temples by the priest, and she would perform the ritualistic and the artistic duties in the temples, and she became an employee of the temple. And she was given an inam, like she was given some portion of the produce from the land, and she was also given a monthly payment. And the Devadasis were supposed to be most smart. They were smart women with a lot of business acumen, and they would even participate in the administration of the temple running. And marriage was not permitted for these Devadasis, but they could have a license with the man of their choice, and any children from this license would be brought up by her and supported by the man who was concerned. The Devadasis pursued the dance with diligence and with a lot of spiritual inclination towards it. They had a large repertoire of composition, but over the time, the climate change, ills were brought about by the society to this community. The ordinary people started to not appreciate the art form itself, and that the exposition to this art was suggestive of immorality, appealing to the man's basic instincts was what it was thought to be. Some of them also thought that the art itself was pure and had to be preserved. But there were many who thought it was shocking that during the turn of the century, many young girls were being dedicated to the temples. And as we all know, a bill was introduced in the year 1927-28 by Dr. S. Lakshmi Reddy, which brought about the abolition of dance in temples. The Devadasis were very hurt, and they were stripped of the very purpose of their living, and they were bitter about the fate. There were a few of them who were smart enough to take up to dancing on stage, like we know Bala Saraswati and others, who really put up a beautiful show. They knew how to adapt themselves to the stage. But most of them were only confined to their homes. And it was E. Krishna Iyer, who was one of the early secretaries of the Music Academy, who championed the cause of Sadar and the surviving practitioners. We have Gauri Amman, Malapur Gauri Amman, who was a Devadasi. She was the last of the Devadasis of the Kapalishwara temple in Malapur. It is here that we have Rukmini Devi Arunde, who contributes enormously to the tradition. The name Sadar was changed to Bharatanatyam, and stalwarts in the field of music like Muttaya Bhagavatar, C.R. Srinivasa Iyengar backed the movement led by E. Krishna Iyer. In fact, S. Kuppuswamy Shastri wrote, "None can deny that in the higher scheme of Indian life, fine arts have a definite place. The immediate task of art lovers should be to encourage the fine arts, particularly among the reclaimed members of the Devadasi clan, especially as their heredity in the art is very valuable. As for the question of family ladies taking to the art, it is enough if for the present they are induced to cultivate a sympathetic and appreciative attitude towards it. Time will work out the rest." As we all know, time did not take too long. There was one family lady who had sent shock waves among the Madras society by marrying a foreigner who was much older than herself and had traveled with him to spread the message of India's spirituality, who swept everyone off their feet by deciding this time to become a dancer. And this was none other than Rukmini Devi Arunde. She did not for one moment think that it was too late for her to start learning Bharatanatyam. She was about 30 years old. She saw the performance of two dancers, Sabha Ranjitam and Jeevaratnam of Pandanallur Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai at the Music Academy, and she started to learn the art form. So now if we go to Rukmini Devi Neelakanta Shastri, I will call her Arunde here because so this is some excerpts which I've taken from the writing of Sundari teacher in the mail which has appeared. So like the engineer and Sanskrit scholar A. Neelakanta Shastri and his wife Seshamar named the sixth child born in the sacred city of Madurai on the 29th of February 1904, Rukmini, the Shining One. They knew not then that she would really shine forth in the future like a many-faceted diamond. Rukmini Devi's genius as an artist, a humanitarian working for animal welfare and vegetarianism, and as an effective orator, flowered forth after she married in 1920 the great educationist and co-worker with Dr. Annie Besant, Dr. G.S. Arundel. We have some photographs of Rukmini Devi from the archive collections. This marriage triggered off great opposition in the society at that time. I have to mention here that my husband's grandmother and Rukmini Devi are first cousins. Actually, she's Rukmini Devi's mother's brother's daughter is my husband's grandmother. So we are related that way. So there was there was constant visit of the Adayar family to our house. I heard from them earlier. And Rukmini Devi came from this village called Akilandapuram, which is near Tanjavur, where there was a lot of music in the family. So she was not so much into dancing, but music was part and parcel of the family. And it is said that the forefathers of Rukmini Devi's mother's side had even given Bhiksha to Tyagaya. So he had come to their house. So the house is still there in Akilandapuram, the place where they hail from. So Rukmini Devi was like a daughter. So this is the photograph. We have Visalakshi, Nilakanta Shastri, Subramanyam, Seshamal, Rukmini, vibrant student community and campus environment. We can see that. Then we have, she was like a daughter to Dr. Annie Besant and to her colleague C.W. Leadbeater, who was a theosophist, who also said that Rukmini Devi would become a great person later in life. She traveled abroad a lot with her husband and later by herself, bringing to the world the great message of India. The Renaissance she brought to the field of art. There are some few photographs of Rukmini Devi today. So that is with Arundel and then with Seshama and all her siblings and Rukmini Devi. Then this slide, okay, this we'll talk about it. The Renaissance that she brought about in the field of art and especially in reviving Bharatanatyam made history. She was highly musical from childhood and wished to be a musician. When she met Anna Pavlova in 1926 in Australia and saw her dancing, her interest in dance was aroused. The great ballerina soloist Cleo Lodi, charmed by Rukmini's innocence and beauty, taught her the ballet. In 1932, when she saw a Bharatanatyam program, as I have mentioned, her spirit was aroused and she says, I was ushered into a new world of rhythmic beauty and meaning. The discovery of such a beautiful and profound art, restricted to a few specialists, aroused in me a desire to do all that one individual could, to spread an appreciation of it and to find young people who would dedicate themselves along with me to its revival as a factor in the cultural renaissance of India. She found a traditional teacher, Sri Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai. Let me see. Okay, there are photographs of Meenakshi Sundaram. I come to that. Who at first was most reluctant to teach someone outside the small and disappearing class of temple dancers. But he did come to Chennai to teach Rukmini Devi Arundel. I think he made an exception in her case. And she had to learn in closed doors, I hear, where no one could know that she was learning the art form. He tried to discourage her by severe tests, but by meeting his tests with hard work and talent, Rukmini Devi made him an enthusiastic and later a famous teacher. In fact, he would say that the art form had to be only in temples, and that was the reason I think Rukmini Devi created a temple out of the stage by making the Nataraja on one side. Like she placed the Nataraja on the stage and said, now I'm dancing for the god. And now that is followed, I think all of us are now keeping the Nataraja on stage. In 1934, G.S. Arundel, Dr. G.S. Arundel established the Besant Memorial School as his Guru had expressed the desire for her living memorial. When this school was closed for want of funds, Rukmini Devi took the responsibility of ensuring its future, and she produced the plays Light of Asia and Bhishma. I think the next thing is the Bhishma, that is still from the Bhishma. And the previous one is a scene from a play at the Theosophical Society, Kuan Yin, Buddhist goddess, a female from Avalokiteshwara. That is what she was portraying, that is this thing. All these were done in order to create funds, to gather funds. There was great opposition from the public who objected to a lady of quality to take up to dancing, which was confined to the Devadasi community. The Devadasi abolition bill, as we know, was sponsored by Dr. Muthulakshmi Reddy. But even then, several prominent persons like Right Honorable Srinivasa Sastri, Sir C.P. Ramaswamy Iyer, others came to the performance because of the persuasive invitation extended to them by Dr. Arundale for Rukmini Devi's maiden performance in 1934. The audience was spellbound, beholding the unfolding of divinity on the stage. The dancer had been a channel in bringing down divine forces, and the physical art portrayed without vulgarity and involving the purest emotions, including Sringara, had presented the physical. The eminent persons perceived how this art could bring about the message of the soul of ancient India to the modern world. The opponents became her supporters, and Rukmini Devi also designed her own dance costumes so that they were aesthetically beautiful. She also arranged for the musicians and Natuvanas to sit on one side of the stage, which we follow till date. And so this is all history done by Rukmini Devi. And she did not appropriate anything from anyone. I would say that she contributed for the betterment of the art form, so that people can speak about appropriation now. The Natuvanas left Kalakshetra at some point, and at the arrangement of her pupil A. Sharada, Rukmini Devi herself did the Natuvagam assisted by her colleagues. This was historical in the annals of Bharatanatyam, as till then this art was the prerogative of only a few men belonging to a particular caste. Later on, other ladies trained by her sang and performed the Natuvagam for her performances. Rukmini Devi established the International Center for Arts in 1936. So we're going to see a few more pictures. This was the house where they moved into after Nilakanta Shastri retired. It was number 1, Gindi Road, Adyar, near the Theosophical Society, where her father worked at the Theosophical Society. These are some of the initial classes which were there at the school.
Look at the back.
And this is with Pandanallur. Is that you?
No, I was just saying, look at the back of
yeah.
It's so straight.
Yeah, and this is with Pandanallur Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai. In fact, Kalakshetra Foundation recently dedicated one lane in memory of Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai. And so these are the...
That's really got it.
Yeah. And so in 1936 she established with one pupil, Revathi. I think she was, and later the name of the center was changed to Kalakshetra, given by Sharada, Periya Sharada teacher's grandfather. Subramanya Shastri, he gave the name Kalakshetra. And I hear that Tagore told Rukmini Devi once they met, I wish I had got of that name instead of Shanti Niketan. I would have named Shanti Niketan as Kalakshetra. So it was such a beautiful name. Now we all know that it has become a world's famous art center, and public come not only to learn, students come not only to learn Bharatanatyam but also different arts like Carnatic music and visual arts. Rukmini Devi had this unique charm in her where she attracted great artists, and it was a dream to make an artist village out of Kalakshetra, where there would be music and and dance and other things going on. It was her dream, where people were not bothered about food, like artists were not bothered about earning to have food or anything. She wanted to give them whatever they needed so that their creative instincts would be at the peak. And so Tiger Varadacharya, Veena Krishnamacharya, Mysore Vasudevacharya, you can see Karaikuri Sambashiva Iyer, Budalur Krishnamurti Shastri, Pandanalur Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai, Mailapur Gauri Ambar, Ambu Panikar, Chandu Panikar and others who have contributed to the growth of Kalakshetra were all attracted to Rukmini Devi because what she had to offer and how she treated them. She has helped, looked after them even during their old age. Rukmini Devi, as we know, has choreographed so many dance dramas, 25 of them in Sanskrit, Tamil, Telugu, Bengali, and of course everyone is familiar with all these. And much of the research work for these dramas was done by S. Sharada, who was and the Pandits at Kalakshetra. The music was composed by Veena Krishnamacharya, Tiger Varadacharya, and Papanasam Shivan, Vasudevacharya, and others. Her genius as a choreographer can be admired fully only by a few who have been fortunate to be present on these occasions. The artists trained by her have to keep pace with her creative flow of ideas and execute under her direction what she envisages in beautiful dance forms. The stage decor in her dance dramas are very simple and effective. The dance is expressive of emotions portrayed in communicative abhinaya. All the movements on the stage are most meaningful. For those who have watched it, they would understand. The rhythmic patterns and pure movements expressed are varied in all the dance dramas. So I think tomorrow Jyotsna will be doing a little bit of explanation on that. The young and the old, Indian, Eastern and Western audience all of them over the globe are spellbound witnessing these dance dramas. Even recently, we were at Netherlands and dancing for the King of Netherlands in front of the King and the President of India for a special summit which happened marking 75 years of the ties between India and Netherlands. And for 50 minutes, the King gave us a standing ovation after the program. So we know how relevant it is. It is not gone by time. It might have been created in 1940s or 50s or 60s, but till date there is relevance. I don't know how she managed it, because we've not changed even a little bit of what the presentation is. None of them allow it to be changed even a little bit. I have to give my hats off to the teachers at Kalakshetra. I think they deserve a special hand, and that they don't. Like in fact, Rukmini Devi was very particular. I belong to the Mylapore community. I lived in Mylapore all the while. Been to all the productions and dance which goes on in Mylapore. So I've seen the audience who come in those areas. And when I came to Thiruvanmiyur and when I sat for the programs at Kalakshetra, I could see the difference in the audience. So she had created a particular rasa, she had created a sahridaya. So she did not, in any sense, play to the audience. She wanted to always elevate the audience from where they were. So that is something which is remarkable and which she did to a very great extent. And those who are students of Kalakshetra who come, who have been there, who have watched continuously programs, cannot sit and watch a program anywhere else, to that extent. Because even the ambience that she creates, the beautiful stage, the seating arrangement, everything is so unique. And she created that kind of audience. So that is something which is to be admired, and imagined, and something which was so old. Now people ask me, you have a dance drama for 3 hours, because now everyone wants everything in a nutshell. Even your dance program has to be only 1 hour 15 minutes, and they don't have leisure for anything. So when such a time, it is. And one more thing which I have noticed at Kalakshetra is when any of the senior dancers or the teachers or those who have been in Kalakshetra come for a program, they don't go kacheri hopping. It's not that they see it for half an hour, rush to another program. They come, sit there, and it is peaceful. They just sit and watch. some points which each one of us in the current, I mean, I don't belong to the current generation, but even in my generation should observe, I think, because the older people, they come, they sit, and then they speak to the people who have danced, and then they go. Like, these are certain points which are very important to note, you know, like what she created. So in creating or sustaining a strong, vibrant atmosphere, so let us just go through some of these pictures. She was asked to leave the Theosophical Society, and she built up, she purchased some lands at Tiruvanniur and set up the current Kalakshetra, and at that time there was a lot of toil. This was how the current Kalakshetra was. It is fully barren, sand swept, and like there was no trees, but she created this beautiful ecosystem which is now there in Kalakshetra with the students, you know. And this is her composing music for with Tiger Vardachane. She's composing the music for Kumar Sambhavam. And Kumar Sambhavam was done when the Republic of India. Yeah. It was presented for the first Republic Day of India. It was performed then. And then we have with the next Rajagopalachari is there for the program. I think that is Anandi teacher. And this is MLB giving Rukmini Devi the award. MGR is there. Then with Indira Gandhi, Rajagopalachari, Rajiv Gandhi, when he came for the inauguration of the Bharata Kalakshetra auditorium. So she as a friend of the animals, you can see her with the, and this is Rukmini Devi with George and Aunt Francisca. That is her, and you can see her with the children. So like the scene doesn't change even today, only it is black and white. It's amazing, it's really amazing. And so like this is a small clipping from the BBC which I would like you to just go through. Would you like me to present that? It's a small clipping, it's just part of the...
A young Indian girl tries her hand and her eyes at an ancient dance tradition that will die, but for the likes of her. One day, she hopes, she'll look something like this. For 2,000 years, this dance, called Bharatanatyam, tells stories to the peoples of India of gods and demons, of love and hope. Where the spoken word failed, the body language of this classical dance would ring a bell. But in time, the dancers became prisoners of the priests. Their dancing was confined to temples and to religious beings, and the people lost touch with their past. But for a rebellious young woman, this exotic tradition would have died. She risked her reputation to bring it back to the people. The young woman planted this banyan tree, marking the place where she took the best of the past to make sure it had a vigorous future. Today, the place in South India where the tree thrives is considered holy. They call it Kalakshetra. Here they worship dancing. The woman who planted the tree 50 years ago not only discovered the dance was confined to the temples, she also learned that it was performed by women who were dancers by day and prostitutes by night. Rukmini Devi, then 20, was a Brahmin, an aristocrat, and when eventually she performed the dance herself in public, the Indian establishment was horrified. In time, the storm subsided and eventually the dance was accepted. Finally, India decided it was safe to send their children to her. These young dancers and musicians are devoted to one of the oldest dance traditions in the world. Under her banyan tree, Rukmini Devi leads them in prayer every day. She's now in her 81st year. She was recently asked to become President of India, the highest office in the land, but she declined. She'd be more useful, she argued, if she continued as a guardian of her country's artistic traditions. As a Brahmin girl, Rukmini Devi knew she must not marry outside her caste. She did more than that. She married a foreigner, an Irishman called Dr. Arundel, many years her senior. It was unheard of.
Absolutely unheard of. We were people, the public was abusing us like anything, and we were lost all. He was very popular. I was not known, of course, but he was very popular. He was the head of a big college, educationist, and so popular that young people just surrounded him. He identified himself with India.
Fraternization between Indians and foreigners was disapproved, but many prominent Europeans joined India's fight for self-expression. Rukmini wanted to contribute in her own way. Dr. Shankara Menon was a close supporter from the start.
She had always been interested in music, dance, and in all the creative arts. But at one period of her life, she came into very close touch with Anna Pavlova, who was very fond of her for some reason. She thought that she would be a very outstanding dancer. So she said, why don't you learn dance? So Rukmini Devi said, but it is past the time when one should start learning dancing. And Pavlova said, no, you have a very supple body and I'll teach you myself. And she gave her the first few lessons in the ballet. Her first essay in dancing was not Indian dancing, but the Russian ballet, and her first teacher was the best dancer of the time, Anna Pavlova.
Pavlova advised Rukmini to explore her own dance culture, but there was a problem.
I was living in a part of India which is famous for both music and dance dramas and temples and so on. So I was in that particular atmosphere. And so, in spite of it, I was not allowed to see the dance at all.
Why was that?
Because at that time there was a big stigma attached to them. Because the dancers were professional from a particular caste called Devadasi. And there was considered to be many of them prostitutes.
Temple prostitutes were far from young Rukmini's experience of life, and it wasn't until 4 years after her marriage that she saw the notorious dance herself.
In 1934, my brother, her brother, and I took her to see Indian dancing. And two girls who were first-class dancers were dancing. You won't see that kind of dancing anymore except here in Kalakshetra.
And I was really fascinated by this Bharatanatyam. And they asked me, do you think you can do this dance? I said, I have a feeling I can, and I want to learn. And then we searched for the teachers. We went to every dancer's home to see the different teachers, because I didn't know what was right, what was wrong, what was good or bad. So I studied to see which teacher attracted me most.
But the teacher had to be convinced Rukmini wasn't just a dilettante. For the next 10 years, she underwent the strictest training, and when she felt she was ready, at the age of 31, she invited 100 friends to watch her perform. Curiosity attracted 2,000. Almost all were offended by what they saw.
Brahmins were shocked, non-Brahmins were shocked, justice was shocked, everybody. I didn't think it was vulgar. I only thought it needed reformation. The costumes had to be reformed, the music had to be reformed, the presentation had to be reformed, and everything had to. So I decided I would do that.
A few saw her dancing as a breakthrough for the Indian.
So like kind of, this is a small clipping which I had. So as I said, in creating or sustaining a strong, vibrant atmosphere that is conducive for the people to give the best, the leader or the person who has the vision, they play a very important role. Yad yad acharati shreshtaha tat tat eva itaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokas tat anuvartate. Whatever action is performed by a great man, common men follow in his footsteps, and whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. This is from the Gita. So Rukmani Devi's creations and her action stands out as unique art pieces which draws essence from culture and are steeped in tradition. It also has appropriate modernity, giving it a beautiful, giving these as beautiful presentations, and which is relevant at all points of time. The former President of India, who was also the chairperson of Kalakshetra during those times, Sri R. Venkataraman, in his speech on the occasion of the centenary celebration of Vattai, as Rukmini Devi is fondly referred to, remarked, "Aesthetics have been relegated to a margin in our life today. The strings of creativity do not well up as before in our people as a whole. We can boast of more painters, musicians, and dancers than before. But as a society, we seem to be less sensitive than earlier generations to the appeal of the aesthetic. Life has become prosaic. The daily routine is severely functional. The resultant monotony is sought to be relieved, therefore by diversions that are garish and high-pitched, be it in color or in volume. The quiet beauty of our traditional arts and crafts, the gentle repose and tranquility they engender, are at a discount. A non-aesthetic life can also easily degenerate into a violent and strife-torn life, and that eventually must be prevented." This is what we said in 2004, and it holds good even today. And so Kalakshetra has a culture which has been sustained over the decades. This culture is derived from the philosophy of the founder, and it is this aspect that will carry the organization for posterity. Now if we look at Kalakshetra now, the government, this is what we say about Kalakshetra, founded by Rukmini Devi in 1936, taken over by the Government of India in 1993 by an Act of Parliament, Kalakshetra Foundation Act, now functioning as an autonomous body under the Ministry of Culture, Government of India, and it has been declared as an institution of national importance. And there has been a shift in the very outlook, with the Government of India taking over Kalakshetra Foundation. The sudden financial and professional stability and an institutional framework has led to the making of an art as an institutional job these days, and art for art's sake has not been lost. The pursuit of art is not for the sake of art, but as a job. There has been a slight difference, even in the mindset of the people. Education and administration is a bit confusing, for earlier at Kalakshetra it was informal in functioning, but highly formal and self-operative in essence. The spirit of the people who were part and parcel of this great institution were willingly partaking in all the essential activities. And now it becomes more as a demand which is imposed on them from the administration. So they're all artists, so basically there is a little bit of conflict. Whereas now the success has been defined universally as two things. One is success in one's profession, and how are you determined to be successful is the amount of money you get, the car you own, the house you possess, where you live, which part of the world you live. That is one which denotes success. Everyone in India wants their children to be somewhere not in India but abroad.
We want to run back.
And so like, ikkare kakkare budget.
Yeah.
So, and the other one is accomplishment, that is recognition in society, how you're recognized. They go to any extent in order to be recognized in society. Whether it is blaming your own country, whether blaming what the tradition is, or calling something wrong when it is right, people don't mind. They want recognition in society. So these two things are considered to be success. Universally, it's defined as success. But what is success has been defined in our text, and I think already Stella has quoted whatever I was going to say today,
Sorry.
or two. But exactly, there are three types of human being. And being a human being is most important. A successful human being is being a good human being. That is what is success in life. So there are three types of human beings. I mean, one is a bhokta, who is an experiencer. Then there's a karta, the doer, and the jnata, who is a knower. These are three characteristics which each one of us have. We are experiencers, doers, and knowers. When you're a child, you're just an experiencer. You feel hungry, you cry, you have something, your mother feeds you, you're happy, and that is done. That is the work of an experiencer. And all the sets of, like the senses which you're provided for, everything works on enjoying the experience at that age. The doer is someone who is very, very important, and even the person who wants to know something. So many of us think that experiences that we gain out of having a car or a big house, that is only a success. But being a good doer and being a knower is more important. The Shastras actually say that karta and jnata is most important and not a bhokta. You know why? Let us observe an animal. How many personalities do you think an animal has? Animal can neither be a doer or a learner. Doing means a deliberate action they can never do. Animals perform actions due to instinct and not because of deliberation. They have no free will. They have only one purpose, and that is to experience. So actually being just an experiencer is just being an animal. So it is just satisfying the animal quality in us. What we do and what we know is that which makes a person successful and superior. And to be a good doer and knower, it is very important to have, as Stella told you, the life principle, which is in Sanskrit, Shraddha. Shraddha is to love something. It is reverential love for action that one undertakes. We should not do an action reluctantly and half-heartedly. That is what Rukmini Devi stood for, I think. These actions that we choose to do, or those which we have to do, have to have some kind of Shraddha in a person. So Shraddha, loving something that you do, is most important. The next one is Rhythm, which is known as knowledge or learning, the second ed in life, learning. Rhythm is proper knowledge, and thorough knowledge. It's not important for us to know something, but to know it completely, what to do, how to do, when to do, how much to do, where to do, all these we should know. The third one is life, acronym life, LLI, which is implement or satyam. Whatever we learn, one has to know how to implement or put to use in the correct manner. Knowing is not important, but doing is most important. If I know how to solve a problem, it is not so important, but I should be able to apply it when it comes in exam and do the problem. Saying that I know it is not important. So there should be no split between the knower and the doer. That is known as satyam. And the third one is focus, which is known as yoga. We have to have the acceptance that we are always in a choiceless situation, and we are also choiceless about the result that arrives out of a situation, because everything is not in your hand. But we have to work hard on whatever we have focused on, and we have to, whatever we are implementing on, it's very important that we focus on this and we accept. There are three things we should understand in this. Acceptance is one. Second one is non-comparison, do not compare with others. And the third one is to accept anything with humility. Even if you are able to do a charity, it is very important that we have to thank God that we have been able to do this particular charity. So that is humility. All this gives us the yoga, to look at any action as yoga. And with all these three things, the last one, E, is for expansion or maha, where we can look at expanding. We go deep down in the roots, with our roots, and then like the banyan tree, we expand to many places where we expand all these ideas, put it together, and there is success all over. So like as Kalakshetra Foundation now, we are trying to focus on what Rukmini Devi has given as roots, and she's a person who did expand so much on what was the tradition, and she brought in new ideas with a complete hold on what was traditional. She's a living example for the life principle, I would say. And I think Kalakshetra Foundation is also going to do such expansion. We are trying at some things like this, so that we are able to spread the message of Rukmini Devi all around the world. And that is one of the reasons that we have come all the way here with Nandaji's insistence that we should do something with them. We're so happy. So we look forward to do some kind of MOU with them, so that we could bring Kalakshetra, we could bring the essence of what Rukmini Devi has been for all these years, her vision, and what we still carry out at Kalakshetra to the audience, to the people at in UK. So so I'm going to show you some of the performance spaces at Kalakshetra. Right now, you did see the older pictures. So this is the Bharata Kalakshetra auditorium, which was renovated in 2019 and is functioning now. So this is the space. This is the Rukmini Arangam, which was also renovated in the early 2018, and it is functioning as another performance space. The Padma Pushkarini, and this is around the campus. We have a 100-acre campus. And so you can see no difference between the BBC and what is here now. So this is the banyan tree. The sapling was brought from the Theosophical Society, and it is there, the students. And this is how our website looks currently. And there's a small documentary on Kalakshetra which I would like, which talks to you about what we are doing now.
Kalakshetra. In the heart of Kalakshetra resides the soul of Indian aesthetics. Srimati Rukmini Devi Arunde instituted Kalakshetra Foundation with the conviction that the freedom of a nation lies in the azad of its arts, crafts, education and spirituality. Kalakshetra Foundation, from its inception in 1936, focuses on building multifaceted individuals with a sensitivity to Indic thought through arts. The Rukmini Devi College of Fine Arts, a wing under the foundation, trains students in Bharatanatyam, Carnatic vocal, instrumental music, and visual arts. Holistic aspects of Natya and allied subjects are taught to make fine performers and propagators of dance art. Carnatic music is taught with equal focus given to technique and emotion. The visual art department trains students in diploma and post-diploma courses covering subjects such as modern art, sculpture, ceramics, traditional art, and printmaking. Students benefit from the libraries for their scholastic and academic pursuits in arts. The College of Fine Arts has aesthetic spaces around the campus that are conducive for creative expression, practice, and performance. Under the iconic banyan tree sprung Rukmini Devi's revolutionary productions. These are worked upon, revived, and presented by the Kalakshetra repertory that performs world over. Rukmini Devi erected a stage with a proscenium, arch, and stagecraft ahead of her time, which is now known as Rukmini Arangam. Inspired by elements from Natya Shastra and traditional Kutambalam of Kerala, she went on to design the epochal Bharata Kalakshetra auditorium. Cozy niches like the Padma Pushkarani and the Tagore Hall also buzz with performances and activities throughout the year. The Rukmini Devi College of Fine Arts promotes and disseminates arts to make versatile artists and evolved audiences. The Theosophical Society built education systems for the benefit of the locals. Being a Theosophist himself, Dr. George Arundale, upon request from Annie Besant, established the Besant Theosophical Higher Secondary School in 1934 to impart education without fear. The government-aided school has 800 students with state-of-the-art facilities and stands till date as the earliest functioning unit of Kalakshetra. In the purview of the Theosophical Society to educate and alleviate the underprivileged, Maria Montessori was invited to Madras in 1939 and trained teachers on Montessori education. Rukmini Devi endorsed that it was vital to sensitize children from a tender age to understand and appreciate arts. She seamlessly integrated regular school education into the ethos of Kalakshetra. The Besant Arundale Senior Secondary School was established in 1973 with equal focus on performing arts and academics. With the aim of reviving the lost identity of the nation, Rukmini Devi established the weaving unit of Kalakshetra in 1937. This has grown into the Craft Education and Research Center with 12 looms, kalamkari and block printing units which produce the popular Kalakshetra or Adiyar saris. Kalakshetra cotton and silk saris are known for their color, motifs and long rettapetu borders. Rukmini Devi revived colors inspired by nature like mambaram or mango and kilipachai or parrot green and motifs such as the rudraksham, annam, Tarambu, and Jalainagam. Vrattapadi is a technique that utilizes a pen dipped in dyes to color images on the cloth. Achiyadakam uses blocks with complementary patterns that are dipped in different solutions to create an amalgamated design. Srimati Rukmini Devi saw beauty everywhere she went and collected curios from her travels. Her collection, that runs to 5,000 plus objects, is housed at the museum in Kalakshetra. Rukmini Devi's travels to the Far East brought back with her beautiful painted ceramics and Kuan Yin statues. The museum houses her exemplary Kalakshetra saris that were designed by and draped on her. Letters and photographs, bronzes and furniture, artworks and artifacts essay the iconic life she lived. Rukmini Devi, who firmly believed that animal life is as sacred as humans, was instrumental in the enactment of the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act as a member of the Rajya Sabha. The foundation takes care of animals and provides a safe space for them to coexist. Kalakshetra is recognized as an institution of national importance by the Government of India and functions under the auspices of the Ministry of Culture. Rukmini Devi sowed the seeds for the intellectual, spiritual and cultural renaissance of Bharat. Kalakshetra stands as a testament to Rukmini Devi's vision of aestheticism. While the branches of the banyan expand to the future, its roots are steeped in our past, our cultural ethos and traditional praxis.
So this is like what Kalakshetra is about and what we're going to try to work out with Nandaji and Stella. This is what if you have any questions you could ask me related to.
You have any question? No? Myron, do you have any question? Only answers.
So like the essence of the whole thing is that though we have become a government institution, one thing has to be said is I've seen many government institutions which are functioning, but and Kalakshetra is not just a dance school per se. Many of them think it's just another dance school. It is not. It is wholesome learning that goes into everyone's life when they come there. I'm sure the students will agree with me. Like it is not just dance classes which go, but like it is a way of life. And especially when I see the older teachers like Janardhanan's or Amri teacher or any of them, the way they, JR teacher, Sharda teacher, the way they react to situations, the way they put themselves at places, that really makes me look up to them as true mentors, because they have imbibed not only the quality of dancing but the way of behavior, the way to conduct themselves, and that has gone with the teachers who are currently teaching. And then I would say like the teachers are most overworked at Kalakshetra because we have programs where they have to perform, they have to take care of the students. In 4 years' time, they have to prepare them to a level which is Kalakshetra's stamp, and like it is not very easy. And I see them working at all times, and like I have the confidence that they will do it, even though we have a set of series of programs. Half the time we are traveling, performing, then coming back, and the lessons are going on. and the commitment of the teachers at Kalakshetra, be it the dance teachers, music teachers, and the visual art, is amazing. And they are not like government teachers who just do not want to give their maximum. They give their maximum and they make the students, they're very proud of the students, I think. So that's what I have to say. And so we would like to have some kind of system where we not only have Kalakshetra looking at what is happening here, regarding the workshops and everything, but we'd like to give some of the people in the UK an experience of Kalakshetra by coming there for a period of time, learning at the campus. You see, we see the beautiful campus, and so that's what we like to give. And we also would like to give employment opportunities to the students of Kalakshetra who can come here and teach or do workshops with a senior teacher from Kalakshetra heading them. So this is what we are planning. We would discuss it further with Nandaji and Stella and our chairman, and we'll come to some. So thank you all for being patient with me.
Nandaji, we are going to conclude.
Any questions? Meera is here. No questions?
Avanti.
Pratika, Pravina, you all have any questions?
I don't have any questions. It's a delight to hear and just have that experience. Thank you.
Revathi ji, we have no words to express our gratitude for the wonderful introduction you have given with regard to Kalakshetra and Rukmini ji for their contribution. It's in our Shastras it is said, through tapasya only one can create something. Through tyaga only. Tyage naike amrutatva manasho. Nothing really is possible unless one is ready to sacrifice. When one gets ready to sacrifice, you will see the kind of a result that we have seen through the sacrifice of one individual, that is Srimati Rukmini Devi Arundel. What we have seen through these pictures and also through the wonderful talk our Revathi ji has given is something, it has opened our eyes. In life, as she really mentioned Shraddha. Bhagavad Gita says, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. Jnana is a result of the kind of Shraddha you have towards learning that. Only then you will see what is more important. I always think, what really makes an individual beautiful? Not just physical beauty. Physical beauty is there for a few years and gone. But what really makes an individual beautiful is the vidya and the kala one has. That doesn't diminish even at the age of 90, 100. We feel like going to such people and talk to them because they are so very special. That is real beauty. All other beauty is just temporary. So today we have heard from Revathi ji the story of a tyaga, of tapasya. One person can do something like that. If many more people take up the kind of activity that she has done in that field, and I'm sure the very essence of our art, our tradition, will be safe in the hands of youngsters if they are able to see the kind of tyaga she has done towards achieving this. Bharatanatyam today is very special because of the sacrifice of so many artists, so many teachers. Amongst them, one of the most important teachers, one of the most important persons who gave us something so very special is Rukmini Devi ji. And we have seen that. That has been brought out through her lecture, through her talk, and the experience as a director of the Kalakshetra. She has shared with us, and we are going to have more discussion with her, how they can help Bhavan to be a place in this part of the world to carry on the message that how to take this further to the next century through our joint coordination, joint work, etc. I see half of our education committee here, who are all here. I'm so happy to see all of them, and then I'm sure we can all work together, sit together and talk and see how we can provide the kind of facilities in this part of the world, not just for those students who come to Bhavan. Everyone who has an interest in Indian traditional art form, dance, music, etc., they should be able to come and take something out of that. And I hope Bhavan will be able to do that with the blessings of Kalakshetra. And I'm so happy to see all of you here who are so very special in your own fields. I see our Meera ji here, Meera Kaushik, who has done so much through academy. I've seen many of our old students, and I don't want to name all of you have done so much work in the field of art and in your own area, and let's all get together and see how we can take this message further. I would like to thank again Dr. Josmanji for coming here, and from tomorrow and day after, in the coming few days, there are very interesting activities taking place, educational activities, intellectual activities in the field of dance will be taking place here. Please do tell your friends, all those who have an interest in our art forms, and to come and to listen to these very special people, these specialists who have done something so unique in the field of our art through Kalakshetra, an institution, a foundation supported by Government of India. They take pride in associating, and then it was became part of Government of India in 1993. Started in 1936. Bhavan was started in 1938. 2 years younger to Kalakshetra, but Kalakshetra has specialized in certain aspects. I'm sure we can all do something. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our dear Stella.
Oh, no.
So much, and we have reached out to virtually everyone who is in the field of dance. Hopefully tomorrow and day after, in the coming few days, they will all come and make use of the opportunity available to them through these wonderful people who have come all the way from India. And again, I would like to, through our Revathi ji, Director of the Kalakshetra, to express our gratitude to Sri Ramadurai sir. Please give us as we were coming from the airport. Only this morning they arrived. The flight was not delayed, but at the custom they had to wait nearly 2 hours. And afterwards, the roads were all blocked. By the time they reached Bhavan, it was almost 10:30. Imagine arriving here by about 6:30, and then arriving at the Bhavan at 10:30, and then afterwards they had only few hours of rest. And now they are here and conducting these special sessions as such. Thank you, and thank you, Josna ji. And I would like to thank our Anvi for her help. All our office people.